This idea, continuing here, this idea that we've gotten more decadent in America over the years, I think is erroneous. I mean, if we're talking about, Alex Jones talks about how, he attributes this to the neo-leftist mentality, like this Antifa kind of stuff. And I think to myself, you know what? I mean, there was a lot more freedom in America, financial freedom, economic freedom, uh, decades ago, 55 years ago, okay, that I know of. And this idea that you're going to blame that for the problems, and people are lazy and they just want to get welfare and do nothing, and we've gone the opposite direction. That's why I don't understand it. I don't understand how these people think. But you could say, well, it's because of all the technology and people are stuck in their smartphones. We become antisocial, and even though we got all these social network plays that we don't want to be sociable, and it causes antisocial behavior to go on these social sites like Facebook, for example, or whatever that you use. But I just I don't see that. I see that the closer we get to universal freedom, the better off we are. And you could blame industrialization, but hey, are we to go back to the ox and plow to cultivate our fields? I mean, is that what you're saying? I mean, because that's taking it to the extreme. Extending it all the way out there is saying, look, we need to go back in time and deindustrialize. Is that what we need to do, or do we just need to have some common sense here and say, no, we want the technology. We want industrialization, mechanization, automation, and robotics, but only where we want it. We don't want self-driving cars and trucks, for example. We want somebody behind the wheel. So we draw the line. We, the people, can decide what technology we have and what we don't. But if the reality is, and like I pointed out, there'd be a vast swath of the population who would be unemployed tomorrow if we just solve fundamental problems like this basic guaranteed income. People say, how are you going to fund it? Who's going to pay for it? Well, you're going to pay for it through a painless method, something like a Tobin tax on Wall Street, whereby the investors don't even feel the pinch, literally don't even feel the pinch. And you know why? In fact, it could actually benefit them, and your taxes are going to go way down. There's another perk to a basic guaranteed income, because instead of paying all these costs, like the cost to imprison people, the whole court system, the criminal industrial complex you're paying for now with your taxes, you're not going to have to pay for that. There's $50 billion a year in subsidies, Section 8. You're not going to have to pay that. All the people you support in the welfare industrial complex are government workers, right? Social workers. You're not going to have to pay their salaries. Do you understand how your taxes will go way down? So your government mandated taxes are going to go down, and your privately mandated taxes, like just your cost of living that you pay to a private entity generally, are going to go way down. You understand how this works? So Wall Street wouldn't feel the pinch, and it would solve massive problems in society. And you think it can't be that simple? It is that simple. The problem is that these people will fight tooth and nail to prevent the people from being free. And this is how you free them, with this basic income. And like I said, you checkmate them by doing this, especially when you put cost of living adjustments in there. Say, look, you want to play around and manipulate markets? We're not having that. We're just going to give a cost of living adjustment. So then anytime employers are pissed off because they got to give their employees a cost of living adjustment, they just point a finger at the market manipulators. Say, no, don't blame me. My employees didn't want more money. They should be getting less pay. Okay, because the dollar should be going up in worth. So, if we go back 55 years when minimum wage was $1.50 an hour, it could be $1 an hour today, but it could be worth $3 relative to the 60s. Do you understand how this thing could work and how it's supposed to work organically, naturally, automatically, if we had true free market, supply and demand capitalism? Okay, that would happen organically, naturally. So let's all just be intellectually honest with each other. A child can understand this stuff, so you can't lie. You can try to lie to yourself, but it's not going to work well when it comes to answering for who you are when you stand before your maker. Who are you? If you're a liar to your own conscience, I mean, who are you? Where do you belong? You see, you're buying your own ticket to hell if you're intellectually dishonest about these things. So anybody that disagrees with the things I'm saying disagrees with truth, basically. And so where are you going to go? You're going to go to the place where the liars go, the murderers, the hypocrites, with the weeping and the gnashing of teeth and all that. So I'm not condemning anyone to hell. I'm just saying you're buying your own ticket to hell. It isn't a condemning God that's going to hold you accountable. It's a loving and merciful, graceful God, forgiving God. But you've got to confess, and then you've got to admit, then you've got to turn and repent and teach the truth, edify properly, instruct properly, educate properly, inform properly. If not, you'll be held accountable. So it starts with being honest with ourselves. Honest, that's it. So I don't know what else to say on that. Oh, I was saying that the mainstream media nonchalantly reported just, oh yeah, by the by, is that there's been a lot of foreign lobbying, and including all the implications thereof, and it's perfectly legal. Yeah, this watchdog group just divulged that nobody's ever heard of, but I saw just a little blurb recently on the mainstream media about this. Oh yeah, that's perfectly fine. So this is what the Clintons have been doing, this kind of stuff, the Democrat National Committee and all this. They've been doing this stuff, and this is how they've been weaseling out of it, is by, oh, it's been perfectly legal. Yeah, we've been doing this. So you can look in it all you want, but yeah, we admit it. So their admission, they believe, exonerates them. You know, I haven't seen Lou Rockwell. He's a great economist that believes in supply and demand. I haven't seen him on the Alex Jones show in a long time. I wonder, Alex doesn't get these good... he wants to talk about, bandying free market or free market this, free market that, and this America's the best, and that's why everybody wants to come here and all this. He's too young to understand the history, and if he's not talking to older people to inform him, David Knight knows all about the destruction of the dollar, how it's been reduced by over 90% since its inception in 1913. So in just over 100 years, the worth of the dollar has been destroyed by 90+%. I mean, Alex, you can talk about this. You can't, this is constructive criticism, man. How do you ever get your act together? America should keep going on this trajectory, except get over the 2008 bailout and what should have happened in the economy at that point, the market correction, and just move along now. And you say you're a great historian, but you don't care about recent history? I mean, come on, man. That's constructive. Get it together, man. Get honest economists on your show. Get the Harry Dents out there, and the Peter Schiffs, and the Lou Rockwells, and the Max Kaisers out there, and all Max Kaiser's guests, the Paul Craig Roberts out there. Okay, these honest economists with integrity. Good Americans, good patriotic Americans, good humans. That's it. If you're a good American, you're a good human. And you're a friend to God by default. That's it. You're a friend of humanity. You want to set the captives free. You want everybody to be prosperous and well off. That's why you're a good capitalist that believes in supply and demand and free market and all this, and define these terms for people. Instruct them properly. You're cutting edge educators. Alex Jones, you're very influential. This is why I talk to you directly, is because you do have such vast wanton influence over the public, a huge swath of the public, and people that I look up to a lot. I like conservatives. I do. I like Christian conservatives. I like the values, but I don't like lies, and I don't like the deceit that's involved, the intellectual dishonesty that's involved in trying to defend the crony capitalist system. I mean, anybody that loves capitalism like myself, you should be the most ardent detractors from crony capitalism. You should say, no, they're just besmirching the name. They're doing this under the pretext of capitalism, but the results are the opposite, okay, of true capitalism. This wealth imbalance, ever-growing, perpetually ever-growing, this trajectory we're on, wealth imbalance, and the ever-growing poverty, and the loss of the middle class, home ownership, and all this stuff. Okay, you should be the most angry about that stuff. And then explain to people, educate them, inform them properly. You're InfoWars, for God's sake. Please, Alex Jones, yes, I'm talking to you. I'm begging you, man, personally, that you really need to understand what, the implications of the things you're teaching people. You want to be right with God above all. At the end of the day, it's about the salvation of our very souls and just being intellectually honest. So put this stubbornness aside and just say, look, when you're right about something, you're right. And this guy's right. So you want to save on your taxes? I want you to save on your taxes. But remember that taxes include the cost of living tax too. You can't just say, well, that's separate because it's private. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. It's all just part and parcel because the governments have been acting fascistly under crony capitalism, jacking up your cost of living tax, saying, hey, it's good that housing prices are going up. That's equity in your house under an increment. Who cares that it's a ill-gotten gain? Who cares? Just go along. So your property taxes go up. So what? You got a cost of living. Your numbers are good. You're fine. Just go along. So they've got a critical mass of people to go along with. They're going to push this envelope as far as they can. They're going to kick this can down the road as far as they can into keeping people believing that high cost of housing is good as long as it works on your side of the equation. As long as your numbers look good, go along with it. Just go along, kick the can, push the envelope, be on our side, jump on the bandwagon, play this wholly rigged, incontrovertibly rigged game. This so under the context of capitalism, the pretext of capitalism, pseudo-capitalism. Absolutely, the antithesis of capitalism is crony capitalism. It's what's creating all the rabid communism and socialist sympathy out there. Come on, be honest. But I don't hear anybody talking like me. I mean, Alex needs to be called. His reporters need to be called, and they do what's right. Do what's right for humanity. Educate us properly. Tell us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, man. We don't want to be BS'd anymore. We want to know what it's going to take to have universal, absolute freedom around this freaking planet. Because that, my friends, is God's will for humanity. Nothing bad is God's fault. Nothing, period. Not organic or inorganic. None of it is his fault. He does never inflict suffering on his children deliberately. That is not for our own good. All things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purposes in Christ Jesus. So no matter what you go through in life, remember, it's going to work to benefit God, and that means it'll benefit humanity. So we've got to just get it together here, man, and really just be ruthlessly honest with ourselves. It starts there, and then with others. And go out and just speak the truth. I complain a lot, but much like Schrodinger's cat, the cat that you don't know if it's dead or alive until you open the box. My complaint is not for myself. Okay, I'm complaining for those better men and women than me that are going to die out on the streets tonight. Not criminals. Remember, if they were criminals, they'd be safely ensconced in jail with 3 hots and a cot and medical care, the whole 9 yards. Free rent, free utilities, okay, everything. Free, at a cost of $50,000 a year to the taxpayers. Personally, my life is exceptionally good. My cost of living tax is exceptionally low, okay, relative to most people. And I feel very fortunate, very lucky. The problem is I can't enjoy it. See, this idea I'm lucky, I'm more blessed than others. I can't enjoy that. I've got to work for the downtrodden that are better men and women than me. For working for Jesus. That's working for Jesus, man. Whatever I do or fail to do for the least of these, I do or fail to do for him. Remember, the homeless are a lot of veterans are out there, a lot of foster children, a lot of disenfranchised, disheartened people out there, okay, that are having a really hard time. And remember, who's making people poor? Remember, these are just weak links in the chain of humanity. And are you supposed to look down on them? Is that what God approves of? I don't think so. So just have the right spirit, the right attitude about this thing. And know that, our welfare is inextricably interconnected. And that, the welfare of others is literally your welfare. So, yeah, I'm alive. I'm a very happy man. A very happy man. I mean, if I was in a good relationship with a woman, you would see this countenance light up. And I would be a lot happier, man, okay? Because I believe that every man that's honest out there has to admit that they're not happy if they're single. Okay, they're all liars, let me tell you. No single man is happy. No heterosexual single man is happy on his own. So I'd be a lot happier, when and if, God willing, that I'm in a good relationship with a woman. I will show it on my face. But in the meantime, this is what I'm contending with. And like I said, I feel very lucky. I have a very good life. I have had a very good life, and I continue to have a very good life. And I may be poor, but that doesn't matter. I feel rich because everything is relative. I'm not the poor bastard that's going to die out in the cold tonight. Far from it. My sense of security, my sense that I'm out of fear is very broad, and it's very good. I have a very good sense of not being in fear personally, but I fear for humanity, that we're not caring enough, we're not loving enough, we're not doing God's will. We're not putting His will first, and His opinion, His vantage point, His viewpoint, willing to see through His eyes enough, and then going forth and just being His friend and living by the golden rule and loving one another as He loved us and proven through Jesus Christ. Okay, and reflecting his good character, nature, personality enough, and being a good representative enough. I'm fearful for humanity, so I speak out